It is that time again, and we are back with some more Championship score predictions. We've got some tough games to predict this weekend, so as always, I'm interested to see what you guys are saying. As always, all this weekend's fixtures will be in the description down below. Then you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. Then if you do get any of them right, your comment will be included at the start of the next video. But like I said, we got some tricky games to call this weekend. Some teams are really coming into form at just the right point of the season, and I feel like there could be a couple nervy games in here as well, so we could get some interesting scorelines coming out this weekend. But without further ado, let's hop into this weekend's games. So starting things out with the early kickoff on Saturday, we see Norwich going up against QPR. This will be the away side's first game without Steve McLaren, who was sacked last week. After reading through some of the comments on the last episode of the Championship Roundup, I think the general consensus among both QPR and the general Championship viewer that the decision to get rid of Steve McLaren probably was the right idea. QPR were seriously trending downwards. They've only got one win this year, and despite them looking like quite a handful for a lot of sides earlier on in the season, things haven't quite been going to plan lately. Defensively, they've been looking really shoddy. That could be seen by the game they had last weekend against Bolton, losing that by 2-1. And they're going up against a Norwich side who have just been absolutely rampant lately. They've won their last 7 matches now, and can I see that halting to a pace in this game against QPR? Honestly, no, I can't. They had a bit of a nervy game in their last one against Borough. You know, defensively, they had to stand up to a couple of good chances that Borough had in that one, but they got through that game. Hernandez scored a very good goal, and you get the impression that this is the sort of game where Norwich are going to dominate it, and eventually that pressure will pay off, and I could see the home side getting a few goals in this one. I'm going to back Norwich for a fairly comfortable 2-0 home victory. FIFA is going to agree with me with that one as well, but I'd also be interested to know from QPR fans as to who would you like to see come in as your next permanent manager, but for this one, it's got to be Norwich, surely. Next up, we then got Birmingham going up against Leeds United. I still feel as if the top of the table will have quite a few more twists and turns, and there will be a bit more switching over between Sheffield United and Leeds before the end of the season, but this is a good opportunity for Leeds. It's a good time to be playing Birmingham as well. They're on probably the worst run of form in the Championship, joint with Middlesbrough at the moment. Birmingham have lost their last 5 matches now. In fairness to the Blues, they've not really been playing that badly. In their last 2 games against West Brom and Preston, I don't think they were disastrous performances by any means. Against West Brom, they gave it a real good go. It's just defensively, and Lee Camp probably didn't help himself at some instances. But Leeds have got some good news coming into this one. Roof is back as an option after recovering from an injury. Izzy Brown, I think, may also be an option for this one. And of course, they're going to have Kiko Casilla coming straight back into the lineup after he has served his 1-game suspension. The bad news coming from Leeds lately is that Barry Douglas will miss the rest of the season, but I don't think that's going to be all too crippling to Leeds. I think that Alioski is more than capable of doing the job at left back from now until the end of the season. It's a good chance for Leeds to be playing Birmingham at the moment, like I say though. Although Birmingham's performances haven't been that bad, I do expect Leeds to have the quality to get through this game, although with how bonkers the Championship is at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me if Birmingham were to win this game. I'm going to back Leeds for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Leeds, but Birmingham, they always make it tough for the away side when they're at home. And then we see Blackburn Rovers going up against Stoke City. It has now been over 360 minutes since Stoke fans last saw a goal scored in one of their games. It's been 4 consecutive goalless draws now. Surely it cannot be 5 in a row. Come on, Stoke, I know you're capable of doing it. In fairness to Stoke, in their last game, I didn't think they played that bad, and they probably actually did do enough to go ahead and beat Sheffield Wednesday with some of the chances they created. They were defensively solid, and you know, that's another thing that we've not spoken about too much. Stoke defensively lately have been looking very good. That's 5 clean sheets in a row now. But this game's quite an interesting dynamic really, because it's a Stoke side who haven't been scoring at all lately, going up against a Blackburn defence who has been looking very shaky. In their last 2 matches, they've conceded 6 goals now. They're sort of fading out towards the end of the season. Realistically, neither of these 2 sides has anything to play for anymore. Neither of them are going to go down, but neither of them are going to challenge the top half of the table, although Stoke have been putting together a decent unbeaten run lately. I'm going to say this one will finish as a 1-1 draw. I think there may be goals in this one. When Blackburn are at Ewood Park, there tends to be a couple of goals scored, so I'm going to say it'll be 1-1. FIFA's going to say it'll be 2 on Stoke. It can't be 0-0 again, surely. And then we've got Bolton going up against Ipswich, a game which has been surrounded in controversy in the build-up to this one. Now, I have to record these videos a day before they come out, so when I'm recording this and when the video comes out, things might have changed around Bolton's situation, but at one point it was looking like this game would have to be played behind closed doors and the fans wouldn't be let in. Since then, that's no longer looking like it will be the case, and fans will be allowed to attend the game. There's been all sorts of threats going around with Bolton lately that they may fall into administration. Liquidation has been an option, and of course all the stuff with the new owner as well. It's a really complicated situation, but I do really have sympathy for Bolton and everything they are going through at the moment. Focusing on the match for this one, it's actually a really big opportunity for this Bolton side. If they win this match and the 2 sides above them lose, Bolton will only be 2 points away from safety, and in the run run into the end of the season, given the fixtures that both Rotherham and Millwall have, Bolton may not be out of this, but this is a must-win game. They're going up against an Ipswich side who I think have been very well drilled lately under Paul Lambert. There's not really that much quality in this side, but I think he is getting, a good system out of them. At times they've been playing some good football. It's just going forward, they've struggled for that final product at times. That could be seen by the game they had at the weekend against Hull. With absolutely everything that's gone against Bolton, I think the players have been unpaid again. They were threatening not to train as well if other members of the club weren't paid. With everything going against them, I actually think they may go and sneak this one by 1-0. It's the sort of thing that happens in the league. So I'll say 1-0 Bolton, FIFA will say 1-0 Ipswich. Massive game this weekend, that. And then we see Brentford going up against Derby. Now, something we normally associate with Brentford is good, fast attacking play, but they've actually failed to score in their last 4 matches now. They'll be hoping to put an end to that as soon as possible, but judging by their performance in midweek against Swansea City, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case in this game against Derby, who absolutely decimated Rotherham last weekend with a superb performance. In that game, we saw the return of Mason Mount, and his quality he adds to that Derby midfield, it just can't be underestimated. Martin Wycombe also scored a hat-trick in that game, albeit 2 of those goals did come from the penalty spot, but a lot more of Derby's attacking players now will be playing with confidence, and you do feel that Brentford could cave in for this sort of game. Defensively, I've not really been able to convince by them. Some of the goals they conceded against Swansea were really looking quite suspect. I think that maybe Brentford are in a position now where the players might start to just put their feet up a little bit. They've not really got anything to play for anymore, but they're going up against a Derby side who still has it all to do. They're currently sat in 7th, and with how they went last weekend, I think they will continue that trend for the remainder of at least the next few games now. Their fixtures are looking very kind, and I am going to fancy them for a 3-1 away victory in this game, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Derby. And then we've got Bristol City going up against Wigan. Now, Bristol City have come right back into form at just the right point of the season. They've won their last 2 matches and are now sat 5th in the league table. And Bristol City were one of those sides a few weeks ago where I really wasn't sure what to make of them, whether I think they would go on and make the top 6 or not. Their fixtures were looking really tough from the run-in, but with how they've gone in their last 2 games, and with Lee Johnson's tendency to, go with 5 wins on the bounce or something like that, the favourite has swung in Bristol City's direction now for the top 6 race. They're going up against a Wigan side who have been putting in some decent performances lately. They're unbeaten in their last 2 matches. They put 5 goals past Bolton before having quite an anticlimactic goalless draw against Brentford. And although Wigan are still looking over their shoulders, they have put a little bit of breathing space between themselves and the relegation zone, with 4 points separating them and Rotherham at the moment. But with how Bristol City have gone, and with how the results have gone for them in the past few games, I can't see them throwing this one away against Wigan. But I've got to be fancying the home side for this one, and I will back them for a 2-0 victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-1. And then we see Hull going up against Reading. Reading find themselves in a very similar position to Wigan at the moment. They're on 40 points, just like Wigan, and are 4 points above the relegation zone. A tricky place to go to away at Hull. Last week, Hull managed to sort out their away form, beating Ipswich by 2-0. Grosicki getting both goals in that game, but Jared Bowen really stole the show with that assist he got for the second goal. Absolutely phenomenal player, and they always seem to turn it on when they are playing at home. In 2019, they have had a very impressive record there. Reading last weekend managed to beat my team Preston, Nottm, by 2-1. Wasn't the greatest of performances from Reading, I think their fans will agree, but they got the job done in that one. Pace going forward can be really effective for them. Modou Barrow is one player who, when he is in form, he can be a phenomenal player in this league. And if the game does get stretched, and Hull do have some tendencies to switch up defensively sometimes, then Reading could have quite a bit of joy getting in behind that defence. I don't think there'll be all too much in this one though. I'll back it to finish as a 1-1 draw. Reading still got a lot to play for. And then we see Millwall going up against West Brom. Millwall definitely looking over their shoulders at the moment. Just 1 point separates themselves and the relegation zone, and they're going up against a West Brom side who has come back into form themselves at just the right point in time in the season. After attacking Darren Moore, they've won their last 3 matches, and what I find quite crazy about West Brom is if they win this game and Sheffield United lose this weekend, West Brom will only be 1 point behind Sheffield United, which I find absolutely crazy. Only a few weeks ago, it was looking like West Brom were quite fairly isolated in that 4th position. There wasn't looking like there'd be much hope for them catching the top 3, but equally I couldn't see them dropping down either. But with West Brom winning their last few matches and with Sheffield United losing last weekend, that really has put a bit more pressure on United this weekend. But West Brom have got their attacking touch back lately. They've scored 7 goals in their last 3 matches, and Millwall are without a home win in their last 5 games. So for this one, I'm probably going to be fancying the away side. I'll back them for a 2-1 victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 West Brom. And then we got Preston going up against Sheffield United. A big game in both team seasons. After both sides lost last weekend, Preston losing against Reading and Sheffield United losing in quite dramatic circumstances against Bristol City. Quite a lot was made of that defeat against Bristol City, and although it was, quite a big blow in the race for for second. I still feel as if there's going to be quite a few more twists and turns before the end of the season. I don't think that Leeds are going to have a flawless run from now until the end, and there's definitely time for Sheffield United to make up that ground. But a tough place to go, Deepdale, at the moment. Preston find themselves unbeaten in 7 home games now at Deepdale, albeit quite a few of those games have ended as a draw, and I could potentially see this game heading in a similar direction. Preston really haven't been helped by injuries once again. It's been confirmed that Tom Barkhuizen's out for the season, Brandon Barker's out for the season, and Andrew Hughes as well. It's a little bit annoying, and I'm not sure as of yet if Alan Brown or Brad Potts will be back in time for this game. I really feel as if we could do with someone like Potts or Brown in the midfield for this one. We've really liked that sort of engine in that number 10 role lately. I think that will be quite important against this Sheffield United side who have so much quality in their midfield. United will be bolstered by the fact that I think Jack O'Connell has been back in training this weekend, so he should feature in this one. I don't think there's going to be all too much in it. I'm going to say it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. I'd probably take that now, although I don't think a point does either side many favours really. I'll say it'll be a 1-1 draw. FIFA will say it'll be 1-0 Sheff United. It'll be a good game, but I'm nervous. And then we see Rotherham going up against Nottingham Forest. 3 points would be a massive booster to either of these two sides' seasons at the moment, both fighting for very different things. Rotherham will just want to put last week against Derby behind them. In fairness, they did have quite a few key players missing for that one, and Will Vokes will be back now from suspension. In the past 3 games, I feel like they really have lacked his quality in midfield, but he'll be back in for the running now, as well as Michael Smith, who I think has been back in training for them. Forest's last outing in the Championship, they did manage to pick up all 3 points against Swansea City, although I'm sure that Forest fans will agree it really wasn't a brilliant performance from them up until Swansea scored. Swansea had absolutely dominated that game, and then obviously Forest ended up winning it, scoring from 2 set pieces. But this one I feel like it's sort of 2 quite robust teams going up against each other. I don't think it's going to be quite as open and expansive as the game that Rotherham had against Derby was. I think this one will be much more closely contested, and a set piece from either side really could prove to be quite decisive for this one. I don't think there'll be all too much in it. I'll say it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. FIFA will say it'll be 1-0 Forest. And then we have got a big game between Sheffield Wednesday and Aston Villa. If Sheffield Wednesday win this game, they'll only be 1 point behind Aston Villa, and with it being Steve Bruce going up against his former club, there's bound to be a bit of spice in this one. I swear that whenever Sheffield Wednesday and Aston Villa go up against each other, it always throws up either a wonder goal or a really engaging sort of end-to-end game of football. If there's anyone that's going to want to put a spanner in Villa's promotion push, it's probably going to be Steve Bruce with how his sacking and everything like that went down. In all honesty though, I think that probably has worked out for the best for both clubs. Bruce is the perfect fit for Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, and Aston Villa have gone on to do better without him and under the management of Dean Smith. But I feel like this one could be a really good game of football. Sam Hutchinson has said earlier on in the week that if Wednesday do lose this game, then he thinks they'll be out of the push for the top 6. Villa's form can't be ignored at the moment. Apart from probably Norwich, they're on the best run of form in the Championship. Although their performance against Blackburn did show a couple of gaps starting to emerge. You know, the goal they conceded was fairly soft. They conceded a couple of other chances, which on another day, another team with being a bit more clinical probably could have got a few more goals against them. Do you know what? I've just got a real gut feeling that Sheffield Wednesday may throw a bit of an upset in this one. I know they're still unbeaten under Steve Bruce, but you'd still expect them to be the underdogs from this one. And I don't know why, but I'm going to back Wednesday for a 2-1 home victory. I'm not too confident in saying that because I have really enjoyed watching Villa play lately, but FIFA's also going to say 2-1 Wednesday. That is a big one this weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are saying for that game. And then to round things off, we've got Swansea going up against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have just been falling apart lately. They've lost their last 5 matches now and have slipped down to 8th in the league. In fairness to Borough, although the results have been quite tragic for them, they have got quite a few winnable games coming up now, and their performances in the past few games I don't think have been that bad. It's when they go a goal behind they seem to have no sort of belief that they can get back into the game. Against Bristol City they started out as the better side. The same in the game against Norwich as well. They had a lot of early opportunities in that one. Against Preston they started off as far the better side. It just seems to be that when things aren't quite going their way and they go a goal down or something like that, everything seems to drain out of this Borough side and they have no real plan B to get back into a game. Finishing also lately hasn't been that good for them, and they're going up against a Swansea side who looked absolutely ruthless in midweek against Brentford. They put 3 goals past them and looked absolutely fantastic. Swansea can out-football anyone in the Championship with how they like to hold on to possession, but going up against sort of a more robust physical side, that's the sort of game where Swansea will sort of struggle in a little bit more. And this game could be that. You know, Swansea can be a little bit inconsistent this season. I'm gonna say it'll be 1-0 Middlesbrough, despite how good Swansea looked in midweek. You know, Dyer got 2 goals, Daniel James scored once again. I'll say it'll be 1-0 Borough. FIFA will say it'll be 2-1 Swansea. I think that's quite a tough game to predict, actually. But guys, there you go. There are my championship score predictions for what I think will happen in this week's action. Like I said, there are quite a few tough ones to call this weekend. I've gone for a couple of upsets in there, but I'm excited to see what you guys are saying for this week's fixtures. If you did go on to enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for a bit of championship content. And as well as that, I just wanted to say thank you for all the support you guys have been showing on all the videos lately. Honestly, it really does mean the absolute world. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.